So, Master Celestia, Master Eli, and Master Sourgo, who will be joining us shortly. Here I am touching the screen of a laptop. Talk about way out of touch. It's pretty funny. I do that at least 3 times a day. Master Sourgo will be joining us shortly. So we wanted to open the room and just give a quick rundown. So we're going to go over the 3 questions, and the 3 questions are, what's going to happen to me? All right. The topic is Power Exchange 301, things they didn't teach us in school. Master Celeste, do you want to shoot the questions up?
The questions are: 1, can you share a personal experience where you faced a challenge in maintaining power exchange dynamics? How did you navigate through it? Question 2, have you had challenges with maintaining a balance between authority and empathy or compassion in your role as a dominant, and how did you navigate that? And 3, can you discuss a time when you had to confront your own limitations or insecurities as a dominant, and how did you overcome them?
Awesome. Thank you, Master Celeste. So we're going to take a minute. We're going to kick it off at 9:05. Master Sourgo is just going to take a moment to join us. What I encourage you guys to do is if you folks have any questions, drop them off in the chat. Master Celeste will be keeping track of those questions, and we'll come back around to them at the end of the panel discussion. Each of the panelists will answer each question, and then we move on from one question to the next. But please take note and drop your questions in should you have. So we're going to give it another minute, 9:05, and then we'll kick it off. So for you New Yorkers who may be with us, Folsom Street East is happening this Sunday. So if you happen to be in the tri-state area and you can make it down to 28th Street, it's back on the block where the Eagle is, from 11 to 6 p.m. Folsom Street East, a kink street fair is happening. You can find your tickets, I believe, on folsomstreeteast.com, but Google it. Don't take my word for that. I believe pre-sales are less expensive than paying at the gate. They will have a back check. Vendors, performances. I'll be there. We can come and say hi. Say, hey, you look taller on the computer. All right.
Master Joshua, I can drop the Folsom link if you like.
Please, that would be fantastic. Thank you, ladies. Awesome. And Master Sal. Beautiful. With that, dominance, let's remove our covers and jump into the question. I'll review the question again that we're going to jump into. Can you share a personal experience where you faced a challenge in maintaining power exchange dynamics, and how did you navigate through it? I can jump on that one.
Okay.
There was a former slave I had to let go because they weren't holding up their end of the bargain. And it wasn't one strike and you're out. Like, we had a number of talks and we shared perspectives, and I heard and I listened, but there came a point where the respect to the power exchange just wasn't there because of a person's inability to trust past their fear. And that's what was necessary for them to find their own strength to have to work over it too, which we navigated it through lengthy discussions and then the dissolution of our power exchange so that they can have to take actions for themselves. Like now it's like, now you have to swim. And that was by agreement.
Who are you going to pass it to?
Ooh, Master Eli.
You know what? I should just stay quiet. I will indulge in I had a dynamic that it didn't start off as a dynamic. It started off as someone that I was just playing with. And then it went into them not having a handler. And what I've learned is anytime when you take on any perspective of a dynamic, whether you're playing with the person for a little while or you're playing with them for a long period of time, keeping control of the power exchange is kind of difficult when you're still vetting the person. You're playing with them, and you're still vetting them, and then you start finding out shit as you go. With the person that I was in a dynamic with as a handler, they were a pup, I was a handler. After about 6 to 9 months into it, they were revealing themselves little by little. And what I found out is that those things that they think are little can be detrimental to maintaining a power exchange. Not only were they a pup, but they also identified as a little. So it was hard to maintain that when they did not know how to control the little. I was in control of the pup, and when I was playing with the pup, but they were not in control of their little space. So the little space required a lot of attention, and it wasn't negotiated in the beginning how much of that little was going to seep over into their real life. When I say their real life, I'm meaning when you're not having a job and you're not maintaining your responsibilities as an adult, and your little takes over, it interferes with the power dynamic. So when we end up I'll speak for myself. When I end up being in this power dynamic, I felt like I was losing control of the dynamic because the things that they were supposed to be handling in their real life superseded what needed to be done in the dynamic. The dynamic couldn't happen unless they were taking care of their real life issues and problems. So when those things, the imbalance allowed for our dynamic to be out of whack and not in balance. Because what it came across is that they weren't being truthful. They weren't being honest. They weren't respecting the time that we were giving for our dynamic part to be in place because they weren't respecting their real life issues. So that's the part where I felt like I was out of control in trying to create a space for a power exchange. But the person that I was in the power exchange with they didn't know the parts of their power that they needed to maintain in order to exchange it with me. Yeah. That part. So I'll pass this to Master Celestia.
Thank you. I was actually been thinking about this question all day. So I had a girl who came to my service, and we had vetted for about a year prior. So I felt I knew her pretty well. Like, she was upfront about her diagnoses and her medical conditions, her mental health conditions. You know, I had other neurospicy and differently abled S-types already, so I was like, okay, this doesn't phase me. What I was not prepared for was her not taking her medications.
That part right there.
And, you know, I would get her to take her meds, and I would start to get her down the path of taking her meds again. And I would have to start monitoring taking her meds again. And I would think we're on the straight and narrow, and I would back off from it, and she'd stop taking her meds again. And we'd go through this roller coaster more than once. And it was a challenge to maintain our power exchange dynamic, going through that roller coaster with her. Because when she was not on her meds, having the same diagnosis as her, when we're not on our meds, we're not of sound mind. Our chemical imbalance, we're not of sound mind. We're not making the right choices. We're being impulsive. We're just not doing things in the right frame of mind, in the right state. We're not good for ourselves or our dynamics. And so I'd have to pause things and be like, whoa, we need to get you back on track. And I did this more than once with her. And finally, I had to be like, this is enough. It's clear that there's nothing I can do to make you take your meds. There's nothing that you want to do to take your meds, but you need them. And I can't sit here and be your mom. That's not the dynamic I set up for. That's not what we signed a contract for. You know, my line in your contract does not say mommy, does not say mommy dom, does not say mother. You know, it says mistress. We are in an MS dynamic, and we're not upholding that dynamic right now. So we had to end the dynamic, and her exit strategy was to move back with her parents. So she got a bus ticket, and we moved her back with her parents. Unfortunately, now today we're good friends still. You know, I talk to her and we communicate, but it was a challenge to maintain that dynamic when she did not want to maintain her mental health. So she and I had to part ways, unfortunately, but she's in a much better place now. I'm going to pass to Sir Ren.
At least you had an answer.
This situation happened with my primary partner, where we were going to be co-owners of the slave. And so it turned out that this slave would have extreme behaviors at some time. And this was in the consideration phase, and they had a cuff to symbolize that, with the exit strategy being that if I removed the cuff, that was it. It was done. Things got very, very bad with the behavior issues. And I did remove that cuff. I'm sure I could have handled it better at the time, but for me, this was a super good lesson in being very thorough with vetting, because I was not thorough enough. So, Lord Salgo, your turn, sir.
I'm gonna have to agree and follow Sir Ren on that one. There was a dynamic that I did not vet properly. I didn't vet the person. I didn't document what was expected in the dynamic. I didn't outline a lot of things, and it became an issue because the S type was not. The lines were not clear as to my expectations of what I wanted from her and what she was able to deliver. So she continuously uh, went back with her old D type, and so she would constantly call him. He would go over and spend the night at her house, and she would be spending the night at his house, and all of these things without telling me about it. And it came to a head when um, she had a incident with her car, and she told me she was with him, and then he called me and told me she was with him, and we had I had told her that the next time she was with him, it wasn't authorized or didn't inform me that it was done, and I ended it on the spot. Um, was that was it. I didn't understand backlash. I didn't understand slave sisters. I didn't understand the anger for things not working out, and I just didn't get it. Um, I didn't handle it well, which led to me now looking at that process entirely different. I should have, I knew of her, but I did not vet as properly as I should have, which I found out later on that, in the words of Master Celestia, she was neurospicy, and I had no idea that she was not taking meds and had this long history of different things that were going on. I just didn't know. So, but it was a lesson learned, and now, I do things quite differently than I did then.
Did everyone get an opportunity to answer that? I wanted to add a question into this. So what should we, because the vetting came up a couple times.
Yes, I was going to say that. Go ahead.
What should we be asking? Because I think we've all touched the vetting iron at least once in our life, easily. And that shit burns, right? So what language have we learned? What questions would we ask to help with that?
Well, I would definitely say for me, if I'm vetting you and you mention to me at any point that you had another D type, I'm having to talk to that other D type. If you restrict me from talking to that D type, we will not be moving any further from that point on. That's number one for me. Number two, because that was a misstep that I still beat myself in the head about. The other part is I'm not as advanced as Master Celestia when it comes to the neurospiciness. I know what I know what I'm capable of, and I know where I'm insufficient at. And so I hate to say it in this word because people used to always say this to me. When I tell them that I'm doing this for somebody or I'm doing that for somebody, the first thing people say to me, well, you can't be Captain Save-A-Ho. So when I look at that terminology, I'm not here to save people. I'm here to create a space where you can be your authentic self. But in order for that to even take place, what I've learned is that the person that I'm dealing with has to be just as authentic as the space that I'm trying to provide. There can't be any holdbacks. You have to, in order for me to feed you the food that I need to feed you, you need to give me all the spices because it's not going to taste the same. You have to give me all the spices in order for me to make the dish. And that's what I've come to find out. We run into people who are afraid of themselves. We run into people who don't know themselves. And so because they don't know themselves, because they haven't spent time understanding who they are truly, they bring partial of themselves to us, and they want us to make them whole. And I can't do that anymore. I've learned to not have the energy nor the strength to keep allowing myself to fill in the blanks. Yeah. And then blame ourselves, because what happens is all of this happens, and then we end up blaming ourselves, and then they tell this false story to other people, and then they're blaming us too for a situation that has nothing to do with the outside world, you know. And then we're already beating ourselves up. Luckily, I have accountability partners that will be like, no, you didn't do anything wrong, because in your head you will beat yourself up a lot for not thinking that you didn't do enough. You didn't do enough because you didn't have all of the fucking the tools that you needed in order to do the project.
Lester?
You know what I found that when it comes to the vetting part is that a lot of the missteps or a lot of the mistakes a lot of us made were it was in the beginnings. It was in the very early stages of us coming into the lifestyle, setting up a house or something. And it was just something that we just didn't understand or something that we miscalculated on. And we just didn't have the necessary tools that were there. And it was I would even go as far as to say it was is along the lines of expectations. So then when you start with the vetting part, we had an idea in our head of what we thought this was going to look like. The other person had an idea in their head of what they thought it was going to look like. And we did not come to a common meeting ground or a common understanding of what was going to take place. That was a major issue. And some of it stems back into the vetting and then the language. Um, I had this conversation with Mascara yesterday. Many people have no idea how to vet or what vetting is even about or you know what questions you should be asking or what you should even be looking at. We have no idea. We just vetting is vet like your life is depending upon it, and then that's what we run with. But then if you ask someone, well, what questions did you ask, or who did you talk to, or what was it? We have no idea. We're just doing the best that we can, trying to get the best results that we possibly can. But one thing I did develop is that I learned to take my time. And I know now that uh, if I'm considering a dynamic with you, it's going to take the vetting is going to take more than a year. I'm going to be talking, I'm going to vet you by you. I'm going to watch you, talk to you, interact with you. I'm looking at all of these things that's going on with you before I make a decision to bring
Mm.
you in because now I got to protect the rest of the house. Now I got to protect other people in the house. So I can't have you coming over here with toxic behavior, infecting my house, and then you leave and we got to deal with your bullshit. No. So now I got to be vet you by you. What do you say? Put you in an environment to see how you work with others and all of that, you know, before you're actually, you know, a card carrying member, if you will. So yeah, that vetting part is serious.
Yep, absolutely. But you know, it's also too, you know, we talk about vetting and we made mistakes, but I look at it as I'm a business person. I'm a business owner. When you walk into a business now and you see that they don't accept checks anymore, it's because they used to accept checks. They used to use checks, but they got burnt so many times that they no longer take checks from anybody. I don't give a damn if you got a good banking account, you have a check. I'm just not taking your check. It's not that you're not good with the check. It's just that I've had bad experience with people who have burnt me with checks. So I've gotten to a point even in my vetting process, if you're not willing to be transparent, totally transparent, I don't want to fuck with you. Period. And it's because I've been burnt by people who haven't been totally transparent, who haven't been real. So as soon as you lie, before I may take 3 lies from you and be like, well, maybe they'll change. Now you lie to me one time and I'm done. It's like a bad check. You show me that you moving funny one time, I'm gonna put you in another category. Or you not being consistent with your process. You say you want to be here, but you're not consistently being here. You're not consistently doing the things that you're supposed to be doing. I'm gonna put you in another category, because I'm not gonna waste my time and my energy and the knowledge that I have to give to you if you're not going to be consistent with it. So it changes us. The more people we deal with, I don't look at it as a bad thing. Those people are inoculating me from the bullshit. And that's just real. Yes, ensuring that your actions match your words. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of gauge a person by the information that they're giving me. And if I feel that they're moving funny, I ask my ultimatum questions, I call them. Thanks to Dr. Bob, I found out that it was perfectly okay to ask someone for a psych eval. Because mental health is very important. Like, I was burned one too many times, too many bad checks. Then now I'm like, I'm gonna need a psych eval. I need to know your history with mental health, and are you fit to serve? Are you fit to serve me? Are you fit to serve in general? Like, I have a whole house to take care of. I have other S types I have to take care of. Are you going to impact my household with bringing in your energy into my world? And if they can't be forthcoming with information about themselves, then I ask that ultimatum question: will you submit to a psych eval? Usually I don't hear back from them after that, which means that they were moving funny in the first place. But I call it my ultimatum question, because you were already moving funny in my brain.
Right. I'm writing that one down.
I also, if you're moving funny in a different way, I ask, will you submit to a background check?
Oh, that comes off the rip.
I already do it anyway.
Yeah.
They already know that I'm going to do it, but I'll ask that forward question just to see how they move. If they get squirrely with me, then I already know I don't want them in my house.
Yeah.
Could I jump into that real quick?
Yes.
I'm opening the doors to allowing people to apply for service or to be part of a larger purpose.
Mhm.
And, I spoke with Master Celestia yesterday. Master Eli, you and I have an outstanding phone date, and that's what I
Yeah.
wanted to check out was your processes around onboarding people. And I've taken a lot of notes, and I'm a watcher as well. And I think that's the best thing we could do for vetting is you can only lie for so long. You can only for so long.
That.
Story. There was a woman I knew. We were walking one day, and she goes, "Joshua, how do you fake it for so long?" And I looked at her. I said, "What are you talking about?" And she says, "How do you fake being so nice?" I'm like, one in my mind, I'm like, "What?" And then I'm like, "Well, I'm not fucking faking it. could you imagine how exhausting, how much energy that is to people please? Because that's all that shit is.
Mhm.
I don't want that shit either, right? So it's like, come with a sharpened sword and a shield because we're going right to combat, right? But I have to see how you move. I have to see how you move, and
Yep.
you have to adapt to me, right? And it's like you're seeking my knowledge,
Mhm.
and we'll learn from each other for sure, without a doubt. But you're knocking, so it's like expectations and obligations. Master Sawago, I learned that from Master Sawago, as common language is what am I here? What am I expecting, and what am I obligated to do, or to show, or to what am I obligated to invest, right? So it's vetting. You will touch many vetting irons.
Yes.
It's
And I
like you're
think you
gonna
only get better at vetting as
Yeah.
you get older in vetting because you don't know everything. Like,
Right.
there's always a new question that I'm like, why didn't I think of this time? Like, I look at something and I'm like, wow, I didn't think of that. So it's always something new. It's always something new in the vetting world that I'm just like, for next time,
Mhm.
definitely could use that for this time.
Mhm.
I'm always constantly learning something new to ask
You
for
know,
vetting.
one of the processes I've added to coming into the house now is ultimately it's up to me, but it's not up to me. It's up to me, but then it's not up to me. You're gonna have to go through the girls to get to me, and you're gonna have to talk to Balthasar. You're gonna have to talk to Onami to get to me. You can't just come in here and think you're gonna, you know, box with the Incas just because you showed up. That's not. You got to talk to them, and they're evaluating you too because I may get excited because you like fire. Oh my God, you like fire? Yes. And then they're going like, yeah, but they crazy, or yeah, they lack this, or then they can tell me because I missed something because I was so excited about what they were gonna do with me till they looking as like, my lord, no, they're doing this, or we asked around and found this out. Because guess what, y'all, for the D types, the S types got a whole network that they talk to each other about each other and about us and them and all kind of stuff. The
Mhm.
S types got it on lock. They got it on lock. So ask them. No, they know. So that's another part I've added now that at first I didn't have, but I value what they bring to I value what the people who are already in the house, what they bring to the table and their skills. So yeah, I had to add that.
Yeah. I noticed that with the not so much with the boys. Um I noticed that intricate detail to what's going on as far as vetting with the real ones as slaves. The slaves and the boys and the girls, they just want to have fun. The slaves be all in the know. They the ones that be really watching your back. That's what I've noticed in my journey. Yeah, because like you said, there's a whole network that the when we say S types, I'm talking about the slaves. They are on it. You want to know something? You want to know something about somebody or something? Go talk to a slave. Have your slave talk to another slave. They know.
Secret Service slaves. Business.
That part. Secret Service slaves. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. That slave squad is nothing to fuck with. Yeah.
So Ren, did you wanna add to this?
It's everything has been covered well. Thank you very much.
Awesome. All right. Question 2, and I think we've covered question 2 pretty significantly. Have you had challenges with maintaining a balance between authority and empathy or compassion in your role as a dominant? How did you navigate them?
I'll go on that one. The empathy part is what gets me in trouble all the time. So I'll be clear. I have, and maybe I shouldn't say this. I have a soft spot, and so I've ever since I've been a child, I've always gone for the underdog. Picking a basketball team, I don't pick the team that wins all the time. Picking a football team, I don't pick a football team that wins all the time. My favorite football team is the New York Jets. So
Go
when they get to
Cowboys!
where they're
Go
going at,
Cowboys!
when they get to where they're going at, then I can celebrate. It's not like they win all the time. So when it comes to people, when I've been have empathy, and it causes me to get in trouble, because what I've come to realize, especially in this community, people use your empathy as a weakness. And so again, this is when you rely on your other people in your house. Like you have Batusai, I have Olikan, and I have Beta 2. I call them the two gargoyles. They are sitting like this. They let me move and do all the things and do all the fabulous things, but they are watching every fucking move and making sure that everybody else is moving the way they're supposed to be moving, no matter how much glitter is in the room, how much, twinkle twinkle is in their eye. They're watching them. And so the empathy part is what gets me in trouble. Because I'll sympathize to whatever it is that S-type is having going on, and it rubs that soft spot, whereas I should be looking at them side eye, and because I always want to help. There's a part of us that always want to help, always want to make it right, make it better, and so I've learned to pull away from that and step to the side so that I can make a sound judgment.
I'll jump on that as a follow-up. For me, it's ending dynamics when I need to. Right? It's like, I'm the biggest chicken shit in the world. I'm so worried about hurting people's feelings. I will overlook mine to preserve someone else's longer than I need to, way longer than I need.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just because I'm a fucking human. There's no almighty out there, right? And it's like, I need to say that to myself sometimes too, because the expectations as a dominant or head of household is like, you got to be iron person, and it's like, yo, but what about me? Right? And who do we talk to about that as well, right? The difficulties of making these decisions of bleeding out rather than addressing the wound, right? Is like, just because I'm dominant doesn't mean I'm cold, right? And it doesn't mean I don't have feelings too. And it doesn't mean I'm afraid at times, and I have shame at times. And it's like, there's a ton of shit because I'm a human being. I'm the only difference between me and you is I've just been drawing straws this way for a little longer. That's it. That's it. Yeah. So that's my input. Who would like to jump on that next?
Come on, Master Celestia.
I definitely am with Master Joshua. I have that problem of ending it when it needs to be ended. And it can be a struggle. With that, and I liken it to that Mulan 2 quote where it's like, you have to be tough while also being soft. People see me and I'm super ultra feminine, and they're like, oh, she's a pushover. And for a lot of times I'm very sweet. I like to catch my flies with honey and be diplomatic and talk softly, carry big stick. I don't like to use the stick. You know, I'll be nice when I'll ask you know, can you do the dishes? You know, it's still an order, but I'm asking in a nice way. You know, I'm not like snapping fingers and cracking a whip. You know, if I have to crack a whip, I've done asked you 20 times. Um, I think where I get myself in trouble is when it comes to ending a dynamic. I like to give people chances. You know, I always want to find another workaround. I want to see, you know, if plan A didn't work, maybe plan B will work. And if plan B didn't work, maybe plan C works. And maybe we haven't tried plan, you know, XYWZD 3.5. Because there's got to be a way to make this work.
Yeah, let them go.
And usually it's my wonderful slave, because slave be doing the things, and slave is the one. Slave will be like, ma'am, you've done this, and this. Ma'am, it's time. And I'm like, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
And I'd still probably try one more time. And I'd be like, slave, you were right.
Yeah.
Write the X paper.
No, when they bring you the key.
She does bring me the key. She will bring me my wallet with the key in it, and she'll be like, do the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm lucky to have a slave that balances me so well and tells me, you know, when I need to get off the bus, because I will try until I'm blue in the face, because
Yeah.
I don't like to give up on people. I like to be that one that fights for people, because
Mhm.
I am the woman that when I you know, was younger, I had a lot of abandonment issues, and I'm working through those with therapy and professional care, and I've gotten a lot better over the years with them. But I definitely see that reflected in how I care for my S types. I don't want them to feel abandoned. I don't want them to feel like they're being tossed away. So I do everything in my possible realm of control to make it work. And once it gets to the point where it can't work, then my slave steps in and goes, ma'am, you've done all you can, and helps me make that transition and engage their exit strategy.
Especially when they tell you that they have abandonment issues in the beginning. You know, you don't want to be that one to strike that up again. But then you can't allow that to hold you emotionally hostage in
Exactly.
that situation. So that was something that I had to learn, that whole emotional hostage part about it. Yeah. Seren?
I had written another example when I looked at the questions, but I certainly resonate with what's been said. Yep, holding on too long. Same reasons. Always you know, trying to lift up the underdog. Come on, we can do this. And yeah, and not wanting somebody to be upset or mad with me or whatever. So other situations, I don't care about any of that stuff, but when it comes to dynamics, I do. Yeah, it's so interesting to try to balance all of that, take care of yourself, take care of the dynamics, and things. And I've also found in certain situations too, that giving a person the opportunity, I'm going to put it this way, the opportunity to move on to a better fit for them can be of great benefit for everyone. I had a
Mm.
situation. It wasn't a dynamic situation, but it was, well, what it was, but not in the BDSM realm. Was when I was in the military, and somebody was they were just being a problem. They're trying to be a problem. They were being passive aggressive. So we had a talk, and come to find out, he wasn't happy. I said, "What do you want?" And he told me, and I made it happen. And he thanked me for it. He goes, "I was kind of mad at you at first," but he goes, "I am so much happier. Thank you, because I would have left and given up my career if it hadn't been for what you did."
Mm.
So sometimes it works out better when we can do that. Lord,
Y'all some old, y'all some old soft ass, kind hearted, loving ass folks. Boy, man, y'all just
Thank you.
y'all got empathy and sympathy for people. Boy, how y'all get such a bad rep being D types? Y'all are mean. Y'all are supposed to be heartless, careless people, and y'all just loving and hugging on people and don't want to let them go. My goodness. Well, at least I know I'm in good company because I'm the same way. So I'm right there with you because that's a shit. It's a real issue because uh not having the family I thought I should have had growing up allowed me to put together a leather family a, that I care about. So when somebody chooses me or chooses to be a part of the 5 rings of Shinobi, it means a hell of a lot. And then I don't want them to go anywhere. I don't want to lose them. I don't want to, leave no child behind, leave no S type behind, leave no mentee behind. I want to make sure we all move together. And then when somebody's not moving, it's like, oh my God, what did I do wrong? And and how can I get them back? And you be secretly waiting for them to go around the block and say, hey, I made a mistake. I want to come back. And thank God for my accountability partners. Because then they can say, you ain't doing anything wrong. You're okay. Let that go. And I go, but, let that go. Let that go. I'm like, but, leave it alone. Let that go. And then and then you work through it. So yeah. And I'm glad to know I'm in good company because that empathy, that sympathy thing, you know, I've gone through a lot and I didn't get empathy when I should have gotten it. So I make sure I give that to when I see someone needing it. And then it takes other people around me to tap me on my shoulder and say, hey, enough is enough. It doesn't take you telling them to wash the dishes 20 times, Master Celestia. Don't do that. That's too many. And then she tell me, it don't take that many times, Lord, so I will go. And I go, okay, thank you. And then it's okay. And then we can move along. Now I know quietly in my heart, I'm still wondering if the person is doing okay. Even the people that do me wrong, I still be trying to make sure they okay. You know. So yeah, it's a weird thing.
Yeah.
It's weird because some people don't know when you become a head of household, somebody do you wrong, and you still telling them, you know, when you put them out of your house, they were homeless, and you making a call, hey, make sure they got somewhere to stay. Yeah, I had to put them out, but make sure that they got somewhere to lay their head and they got something to eat. Okay, don't tell them I set that up, but just
Right.
make sure.
Right.
That part.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So they're not sleeping in nobody's backyard. But anyway,
yeah,
I digress.
sleeping in the car and all that
Mhm.
crap.
Did everyone get an opportunity to answer question 2?
Mm-hmm.
Master Celeste, what's question 3?
Question 3 is, can you discuss a time when you had to confront your own limitations and insecurities as a dominant, and how did you overcome them?
Me, never. I'm the ultimate dom top.
Ah!
I'm the alpha dom top.
Yeah, let's remember what that phrase was. It's been a minute since I've seen it.
I need a minute on that one.
I can
Hmm.
start on this one.
Yeah.
Okay, Sarah.
So I had a period of time where I had very little availability to interact in the community actually for several years due to a literally impossible job situation and work schedule. And when I was able to interact with the community, I found that there were some of my skills that I wasn't comfortable with because I hadn't had an opportunity to practice for so long. And then people like to ask for certain things, and I just had to be upfront with them. I have not been practicing. I have not had time to practice that skill, and I'm not comfortable putting you in the position of me having not practiced that for a while. So no, I will not do that with you. I can find you someone, or we can skip that part. But so that's how I handled and confronted the situation, by just being upfront and honest with people about how I felt. Now, was that a reality? Maybe into some very specialty stuff, but in general, no. But that's how I felt at the time. I wasn't comfortable, and I didn't want to put anybody in a position of potentially being unduly hurt or injured from my lack of being able to practice.
I will follow Saran. So heavier floggers, thicker, heavier floggers are a struggle for me to manage. I prefer things that I smaller, lighter floggers. So I can wield a thick flogger, but I can only wield it for maybe like 5 minutes maximum. And then I'm done. You get a 5-minute scene. I'm done. Okay. My shoulder's done. My carpal tunnel's done. You want a long scene, you want a scene that's going to last half an hour, 90 minutes longer than that, then I need to use lighter floggers. I need to use shorter floggers. And that's a limitation of mine with my carpal tunnel and my partially dislocated rotator cuff. And I tell people that, I can give you a good long scene, but I can't give you this giant heavy thud. I can give you these lighter thuds. I give you lots of light thuddies. I cannot give you heavy boy. Heavy boy means we're done. We're done in like 5 minutes. And that's a limitation I have. Which is why I've built my toy bag around light thuddy and lots of stinging, because they don't mess up my shoulder that much. And I tell people that. I also built up my specialty skills because of not being able to provide those heavy thuds and wield those heavier floggers like some of my companions can. But I can fuck you up with needles and sharps, and I can fucking carve the tree of life into your back with a fucking scalpel and make it look like the Mona Lisa fucking smiled. Like, come on. You want blood cupping? I've got you all day. I can do wonders with needles and blood and magic, and got you.
Yeah.
You want blood play? I'm here. I'm here for it all day. I've built up my specialty skills, my electricity, my other things. So where I lack in heavy impact, I make up with my specialty skills. But it did build those insecurities in me, like Are you a real top if you can't wield a heavy flogger? It gave me those like imposter syndrome. You're not a real top if you can't wield a heavy flogger. You're not a real top if you can't, you know, do this or that with impact because you can't wield this heavy flogger. And I just overcame them by just being honest and like knowing that my people like will understand those limitations. Like everyone has those medical limitations, and you know, as you get older and as you grow older, like your health is just going to progress, and you're going to have to adapt. Mine adapted a little further than I liked, much quicker. So I just have to be honest about it, and that's what I do. I'm like, I can provide you this. If this is not what you want, I have this wonderful friend right here. He will do the heavy thuds for me. We can co-top. We're great at it. So that's what I've had to deal with. I'm gonna pass to Eli, Master Eli.
You know,
Oh, or Lord.
Oh yeah, go Lord. Yeah, I'm still thinking.
Lord wants to
okay.
go.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with Matt Celestia and Seren. Just saying up front, I'm not capable of doing that, or just saying I'm not going to be able to do that as efficiently as I would like to. It's easier to do that with stuff that I'm already familiar with. Like, hey, I'm not feeling too hot, so I can't do that with this, or I'm not able to do that at all. But then I also take the opportunity to learn a new skill set. If somebody's doing something and I can't do it, yes, come over here and do this for me. I want to watch. I got questions. Show me how you do that. What does that mean? You know, I want to know all the things. Even if it gets to a point where, okay, I can't do it, I still want to know what's going on. How can I help you? How can I assist you? Hey, I want to co-top. You take the lead. I'll be right behind you. I don't mind. Just I just need to make sure that I'm saying up front so that the other person knows exactly, you know, what to expect. So, um, I, me having uh, gotten older, as Master Leslie said, having gotten older in the past, I would say since I turned 50, um, I've had to deal with me not being able to do certain things that I was able to do, you know, just a few years ago. You know, doing a 45-minute flogging scene was easy. Now I have to um, weigh the floggers to see how much they weigh and how long I'm gonna be able to do this. So it takes a little bit, and then I feel funny sometimes when I learn, okay, I can't do it like I used to, and then I'm like, but I used to be able to do this. Why? You know what's going on? So let me practice. Let me try. Let me. But then I am able to say I can't do it like that. I can get somebody else, and I'll be right here. But you know, I can't do that part. And it's just being upfront about it. I don't know if Sir I don't know if Master Rod's ready yet, so I'll pass it to Master Joshua. I give him another minute. I give him another minute. So, Master Joshua, take it away.
Can you discuss the time when you had to confront your own limitations or insecurities as a dominant? How did you overcome them? Slave karma. It was because all my slaves are dominant people, and there comes a time they have to fly in one way or another. And in this way, it was the shift of our power exchange so that she can have the autonomy to fly on her own. And that was painful to hear that, because it's like, well, what did I do wrong? And that's where my insecurities came in. It's not what I did wrong, it's exactly what I did right. Because I we watered this plant together. And when she was ready to fly, my responsibility there is to let her fly, but the insecurities of shown through my questioning myself. That's what I experienced. That's what happened to me. Over time, we spoke about it, and it wasn't even about reframing. It was about just laying the facts out that she needed to fly and I needed her to fly so that she can see her power. The same power I was telling her she had, she needed to see it for herself, as opposed to me telling her that's who she is. And time went by and she did, and she ran and she touched Iron Sue to say, holy shit, I had no idea this is what was going on. And I say, yes, man. And we laughed and we cried about it. And then we just sat and spoke some more, right? But it's like, the limitations are we're human, right? We have feelings too. And we have insecurities and we have imposter syndrome. And sometimes we don't know the answer and we're afraid to say so, right? And then we have to roll with that. Or if we make a decision that just falls short, and it's like, well, what about that? Or when someone gets hurt, right? Because people make mistakes, shit happens in scenes. You're never going to go in this journey without making one mistake. And when that shit happens, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. The frog in the back of the throat, the desire to just drop it all because I'm a bad person, right? So it's like, use that shit as your moral compass to say, I fucking have one. Because it's necessary we remain humble in this shit because we're all human. That's my relationship with that question. Master Eli, take it away.
Honestly, my insecurities come from wondering if I've given enough. When I get involved with mentoring someone, I take my mentorship very, very seriously. We talk about Master mentioned creating a family. I never had a big family. It was just me and my mother. And then my brother came along 11 years after. So I've always enjoyed the Postrous family and even the Addams family, anything that was family oriented, the Huxtables, I never had that. So to be able to create that, the insecurities come from just like when you raise a child and it's time for them to wing it out on their own and you want to know if they can fly or not. I put a lot of energy into Oya and anybody who I've mentored. So to see them wanting to have their own and be that they desire to be is I can't speak for everybody else, but it's a desire of mine to see your lineage move forward. The insecurity comes from when I see that people are not happy when they graduate, not happy when they excel, not happy. And I hate to say that we have people in this community that just want to cause the worst and not allow them to blossom the way that they need to. They want to be the obstacle in the way. So my insecurity comes from wanting the best for people, even when they don't want the best for themselves. The insecurity comes from wanting people to excel, I don't do what I do because I want you to be like me. I do what I do because I want you to be better than me. That's the challenge. I want to see them excel. So to put so much into what we do as head of households, it's one thing when we're nurturing our the people that are in the house, but when we get those switches and those other D types that we have to nurture, it's difficult because we know that we're not going to keep them. They have to go out there and do the thing, and it's hard. It's very, very fucking difficult to plant that seed, water it, and then hope and wish and pray that it makes it it make it out there. And for me, that's been the insecurity. Besides when it comes to when it comes to change the subject a little bit, when it comes to the intimacy, my insecurity is cuddling. For those who know me, I wish I could cuddle better, but cuddle always end up fucking for me. So I yeah. I have to be very, very cautious when people want cuddling from me. I have to give that to someone who can do it the right way, because it ends up being the the cuddling ends up being something else. It turns into a whole nother act. It's the warm up. So yeah, I'm still working on it though. I'm working on my cuddling technique. Yeah, it's like swinging a big flogger for me.
So am I. I'm working on that. Aftercare is hard for me. Hard for me. Has everyone covered this question?
Yes, I believe so.
Master Celestia, are there any questions in the then Sir Ren?
I just wanted to say, as we're going into this, I know that Darby, I'm not sure she's still on.
Darby had her hand raised earlier, and Mr. Big Daddy T has a question in queue.
Okay.
Okay.
Is Darby still here?
Darby, if you're still on, definitely raise your hand again, or we'll put you on. Do you want to jump on Big Daddy T's question?
Scrolling up to find his questions. I'm assuming his question means how many chances do you give? It says how many times do you change it in a different way? So how many times do you change the way you change up a way you do things? Is that what you're getting to, Daddy T? Yes, he's nodding. So how many times do you change up a way you do things before you call it quits?
I'll jump on that first.
Like 3 times.
So it's about resistance, right? If you trust me to lead, trust me to lead. If I have to convince you to trust me too many times, because I understand fear, I understand shame, I understand we're gonna hit walls, triggers and all this. I get it, because I'm gonna make mistakes. So I hope you forgive me as much as I will forgive you. With that being said, if I do some dumb shit twice, I better be accountable for that shit. But the same way I'm gonna do it for you as well. Because it's like there has to be understanding and compassion, but then there's also tolerance and discipline.
That part.
And I think intention is huge, and I think ultimately how the power exchange was established and negotiated also matters.
Yeah.
Because then we're talking about expectations and obligations as well.
I think I would add that authentic progress matters. If a mistake has been made and you are authentically growing and progressing and doing what you need to fix the issue, fix the problem, fix the situation, even if it's a baby step here and a baby step the next day and a baby step the next day, then you're doing what you can. Some progress to to show growth is all you can do ask for. Some changes are slow moving. If the situation is medicinal, like they have to go to therapy and they have to get on the right meds, and you're playing the Russian, medication roulette game, that takes time. And if you're in it to stick through it with them, that takes time. So if you're, if they're making those forward movement progresses, don't count them out. As long as they're making those forward movements, I would say keep going. It's when they stagnate and they don't want to make progress, that's when I would say it's enough. When they stop moving, when they decide to sit down and count themselves out and don't want to do the work anymore, that's when it's done.
Yeah.
That's for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, first it's for me, it's like, okay, here's the instructions. Didn't accomplish what you needed to do. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's make sure I was clear. Let's make sure the expectation was understood. Let's try it again. Okay. The third time, okay, what's the problem? Why is it not being done? Let's address that. And as long as there's movement, I'm good. If I see that you're blatantly not doing it, and I know that you're capable of doing it, we have a problem. Because at that point, then we need to reevaluate the whole thing. Because if you're not going to trust me to follow me, then you don't need to be here. And that took working to get to the point where I was able to release somebody.
Yeah, the first time you release someone is the most difficult thing in the world to do. After you've had to do it a couple of times afterwards, you kind of formulate how you're going to feel. I think that the expectation is that we as D types, as head of households, don't feel anything. The expectation is that we just like move on next, and we don't have any feelings that transpires with that, and all of that is wrong.
That is a lie.
It's,
Yeah,
Blatant.
it makes me.
That is a huge lie.
I needed
Yes,
to
yes,
fill your
indeed.
basket up before I responded this way. It wasn't a knee-jerk reaction, but it was tolerance until it wasn't any longer. Like I just didn't happen overnight. It makes me think about me releasing someone from the Leather family, and it was totally by their choice of action, right? Gossip is not cool with me. I don't gossip. And if you gossip and you know that doesn't sit well with me, I'm not going to tell you what you have to change.
right,
You
Like,
should know.
this is a moral fucking issue to me.
right.
I don't gossip. I like gossip is like it's a hard limit for me to be able to establish trust,
Yeah,
right? And if without trust, what do we have? I don't have nothing without trust. How can I let you into my kingdom if I don't know what you're bringing in? And it made me think about that. And they returned the patch within the next few days because they couldn't understand that I don't have a set of rules for you to follow. Be a good human being, right? There's good things and there's bad things. It's like, what's your moral code ultimately?
yeah,
And if you make the mistake, what are you doing about it? And there was no apology with the action. And it was like, so there's nothing I could do.
right.
Because I don't want to have to tell you what right and wrong is. I just need to know where you're at. And if your direction and mine aren't the same, I don't want to convince you to get on my boat because I don't want to have to train you. We have to have the same intention to go this way. All right, sorry.
Wait, the way that I would answer that question, I'm gonna be honest with you. I tend to give people enough rope to hang themselves.
That part right there.
That part right there.
That part right there.
Because I have been told by many people as I've been growing up for the past 50 years, I have the patience of Job. So I have the patience to just watch you fuck up.
Do you-
And when you fuck up and you see that you're fucking up and then you keep fucking up and you're not doing what I asked you to do, by the time I asked you to release
Vacate.
yourself of your duties, you already know. You already know because I've given you enough rope to hang yourself.
Right.
Let me ask you this. How many of you guys from the first time you release somebody, you still have that collar? The collar that you get, yeah. Lucas.
I
I
keep
still
it.
got
I
it.
keep it because they're
Uh,
gonna come back.
Let me, can I interject real quick? That's
Yeah.
Lord Salgo.
Yes,
Hello,
sir.
it's Papa Joe. How are you? How's everybody? Again, I apologize for my tardy, but I found myself in the very beginnings of my journey taking on another entity, and I had to let them go early. But this is before I was really knowledgeable as into how to go about building what I wanted to build and the dream that I have for my for my household. So there was nothing physical to remove from that person but myself, and it it took. We're back together now. They're in the house now, and it's still bumpy going, but we've had the conversations to try and smooth some of the things out to like you said, expectations and obligations. What am I obligated to do? What am I obligated to you about as far for what I'm expecting of you? And it's not, it's still, well, I tell people all the time, either side of the slash life is not easy. And what I provide for you and what I provide for you to me is what I'm obligated to do for you. My expectations of you are basically what you're obligated to do as far as, I saw a quote today on Facebook. It said, loyalty is having my back behind my back. And that's basically all I ask. And if you can't do that, then I don't need you. And the thing is, I'll go into every situation letting people know that I don't need you. I want you in this situation. As long as I want you in this situation, we shouldn't have any problems. As long as you want to be here, I want you here. Period. But no, I don't. Like I said, being a young house, I don't have anything tangible to say. I gave this to someone. I took that back from them because they didn't live up to it. I do now, but I didn't at that point.
Mm-hmm. And remember that the only reason why they return the collar is because the collar never belongs to them. They're just the custodian of the collar. That's it. That's it. So when the dynamic is over, their job as the custodian is over.
Right.
They return the collar.
Another thing that as Papa Joe was talking, it made me think about I've spoken with some people in the past about parenting and about how difficult it is, and the quote is, it's if it's easy, you're doing it wrong, right? And it's like the same thing with power in relationships, right? Is it simple? It's simple. It's simple. Don't fucking lie. Don't be a dick. Don't be an asshole, right? Fucking be a good human being. But it's not easy. That shit's tough because of all the circumstances and the factors that go into it. So if it's easy, we're doing it wrong, right? It's simple, but that shit is not easy. It's not easy. Thank you, Papa Joe, for sharing.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the platform to share it.
Anyone
Uh,
else like to share on that, or Master Celeste, another question?
She's looking.
Well, while he's looking, Lord Salgo and Master Eli, hello, and thank you for your correspondence. And um, I'm looking forward to my petitioning.
All right.
Okay.
Yes, sir. All right.
There are no more questions in queue.
Awesome, awesome.
Well,
Thank you.
I did have one when I was watching on Facebook Live. I don't know if you saw it. You said I'm a bad. I gotta rewind it a little bit. You said something, Master Celestia, about your ultimatum question.
Yes.
My only question to that was, how much time passes before you actually have to put that question into action? You know, as
Oh, I
far
do
as
that within like the first few weeks of talking to someone.
Right.
Those are within the first few
I'm
weeks.
asking because I was genuinely curious, because I myself personally would probably, I would have to say maybe, I mean, I probably wouldn't go 2 weeks before I'm asking those pertinent personal questions, because to be a part of someone's leather house, it is a shared intimacy that people don't really get to see.
Yes. That part.
The more you have those conversations, the faster you'll understand the questions that you need to be asking. So you
Yeah.
can bullshit and see how they respond to simpler questions. Because maybe they don't even need to make it that far. Like, for example, a question I had, do you believe in life after death? And it's
Right.
like, it's not even, I don't care about your answer. I care about your depth, right? Because I'm not waiting for you to tell me your syllabus or your curriculum that you want to learn. I don't give a shit about that. I care about
Right.
your intentions behind what you're doing.
Mistress D
Right.
has a hand up, just so you're aware, Master Joshua.
Mistress D, take it away.
Hello,
Good evening.
everyone. Since we just talked about this collar issue and the custodian of collars, I have a question. I know, Master, you already know what I'm gonna ask. But what do you all do? I just want to hear from the different perspectives. What do you do when you've given a collar and then you had to end the dynamic, and the person that has your collar does not want to return the collar to you? And then they're still wearing your collar around, and everybody knows that it's your collar. You understand? So what do you guys do? I just want to hear it from y'all.
You turn the other cheek and let it be an example of the character. And that's all you can do. You have to be the adult and move past the personal feelings around that shit. Because when people find out that dynamic is over, that's just an example of them. You don't even have to say anything at that point.
Right. Right. Because like me and you talked about, sis, when I first decided I was going to build my house, you always told me, and you always tell me, we need to make sure people we need to make people better make sure they're going to be better than they were when we found.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you've said this to me, I don't know how many times in conversation, sis, so I know you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody has a collar, just say, speaking of what you just said, that belonged to you, that they had stewardship over, but they refused to return it. That's to me, that's really showing their character.
Right.
A collar holds no meaning until two people or more give it meaning. And you removed the meaning from it when you uncollared her. So now it's just a pretty lovely piece of jewelry around her damn neck because she doesn't want to return it. You've removed that collar. You've made it public knowledge that you removed that collar. And
Yeah.
those who know, from this point on, she's just wearing a pretty fucking necklace.
Exactly.
That part. Okay.
The part, I want you to hear the part where Master Celeste said, when you have made it public, that you no longer with that collar. Because what happens with that person is if they ever become vetted again, this issue is going to come back up.
Right.
Exactly.
It's definitely gonna come back up.
Person, and with them walking around with a collar on, another D type is not even going to fucking be bothered.
No,
And that's the
I know
first.
I wouldn't
If
be.
they come in my face, the first question I'm going to ask is who that collar belongs to.
Right.
Right.
I guess the larger question to all of this is, are we really asking ourselves, does this person deserve access to our time, our body, and our resources? Or are we playing the role? Is this just for fun because we have a different intention behind it? Because ultimately, a person can ruin your life with the access that you're willing to step up to, and vice
Right.
versa, right? So
Mhm.
the intentions behind what we're doing, like, we have the right to say yes and we have the right to say no, and we don't have to give any reasons why.
Right.
Mhm.
So it's like being the responsible party after touching enough iron to, like, this becomes more understanding. You have to protect your livelihood, and you have to protect your house.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what it boils down to. It's who deserves. How have you shown you've deserved access to me and my time and my investment and everything I've lost?
Right.
That's the real of it. And do you trust me with your life?
Right.
And how are you going to respond when shit goes bad?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's
Right.
not like people have the wrong things in the spotlight. It's like the fun will come with anyone. You just invest into the time and the play will happen. But
Yep.
who's worth that is a very different question.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
That's exactly. Yeah. That's you can't get no more exact than that.
We as head of households and D types, we have to be more conscientious of who we allow access to us and
Exactly.
how much
Mm-hmm.
we allow.
I use Mama J and Big Baby as gatekeepers towards me, and they are my gatekeepers. And I tell them that all the time. Y'all are my gatekeepers. Nobody should be able to get near me to where as though they can hurt us, because if they hurt me, they hurt you, and if they hurt you, they hurt me, and it is just, they have to earn. They have to get past you to be able to hurt us. Because, like I tell them all the time, you are a direct reflection of me and I of you in any respect that you want to actually, any respect you want to dissect that in. And you have to be a gatekeeper. And all the accolades, and I get all the accolades I get and all the compliments we get on how my house behaves or conducts itself when we're out in the community. That's a lot of hard work, and I don't want anybody thinking they can just come in and mess that up. They might make getting close to us harder for someone else, but I'm not going to have them make my life hard just in general.
Thank you, Papa Joe. With that, Master Celeste, any more questions in the queue?
Not that I saw.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
Papa Joe, everyone that had the questions, all our regulars and all our new people, thank you for joining us. With that being said, Dominance, let's don our covers. Master Celeste, would you like to run down what's going on in the village?
Absolutely. Let me pull that up. If I didn't have it up, I don't have it up. All right, coming up in the village, it is going to be the second Wednesday of the month. So we have Knights of the Vanguard, which they were doing preparation. We have Daytime Dynamics on Thursday. Friday, you'll be here with Story Time with me. This past Sunday aired the Littles Roundtable. They're still pittering their video around, so definitely check it out if you haven't. Monday, we'll be back with Meerkat Monday with the Master Eli Raw. Tuesday, we have Kinky Conversations with the King Collective at 6 p.m. At 7:30 p.m., we have Beyond the Collar. And that week will be finding and defining your submissive roles. And next week, we are doing daily living in power exchange.
Ooh.
That's gonna be fun. I look forward to that one. Which day is that?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Always Tuesday.
All right.
Awesome. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us this evening, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Again, I as humbly as I can say it, thank you for
Good night.
Have a
Good
good night.
Good night, everyone.
Love you, sis.
Mwah, mwah.
Thank you. Y'all have a nice night.
Good night.
Good night.